If you've ever felt her eyes linger a second longer, then suddenly pull back as if she revealed too much, this is for you. If you've sensed attraction wrapped in uncertainty, desire hiding behind a quiet challenge, stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal is the first test she never admits she's giving you. When a woman is drawn to an older man, it's rarely about age alone. It's about what age represents: stability, experience, emotional gravity. But here's the truth most men never hear. Attraction makes her hopeful, and hope makes her cautious. So before she gives you her trust, her body, her heart, she tests your frame, not with words, with pressure. The first test is subtle, almost invisible. She disrupts your comfort on purpose. She might challenge a small opinion, arrive a little late, bring up a past relationship, or lightly question your choices, not because she doubts you, but because she wants to see if you doubt yourself. This is where most men fail without ever realizing it. They explain too much. They apologize when they shouldn't. They try to prove instead of simply being. From her perspective, an older man isn't supposed to chase validation. He's supposed to embody it. So when she applies this pressure, she's watching closely. Does he remain calm? Does his tone stay grounded? Or does his energy shift, becoming defensive, eager, or needy? In that moment, she's not judging your answer. She's measuring your emotional center. This test comes from a deep biological instinct. Women evolved to seek safety, not just physical, but emotional and psychological. An older man promises safety through wisdom, but promises mean nothing without proof. So she creates a small emotional storm to see if you stand steady or sway with the wind. If you crumble under light resistance, her attraction quietly dissolves. Not because you're weak, but because you're uncertain. And here's the part most dating advice gets wrong. Passing this test does not mean being cold, dominant, or dismissive. It means being anchored. You don't raise your voice. You don't retreat. You don't perform. You stay present, relaxed, and unapologetically yourself. That calm tells her something powerful. This man has faced storms before. He doesn't need to win moments. He understands time. Older men who succeed don't try to impress her youth. They let her feel their depth. When she challenges you and you respond with quiet confidence, something shifts inside her. Her nervous system relaxes. Her attraction deepens because now she's no longer imagining your strength. She's feeling it. This is why the test feels emotional, not logical. It's not a quiz. It's an experience. And whether you pass or fail happens in seconds. She may never mention it again. She may even smile and change the subject, but internally, she's already decided whether you are who she hoped you were. Understand this, and you stop reacting. You stop proving. You start leading with presence instead of performance. And that's when her tests change, because once she feels safe, she becomes open. And that's where everything truly begins. The second test she uses is far more emotional, and it's the one that separates men who look mature from men who actually are. When a woman is into an older guy, she doesn't just want to know if he's confident under pressure. She wants to know if his past owns him or if he owns his past. So, she brings up history, sometimes hers, sometimes yours. Sometimes a vague comment about age, exes, or life experience. She may say things like, "You've probably been through a lot," or "Women my age usually want something different," or even tease you with, "I bet you've seen this story before." On the surface, it sounds harmless, but underneath, she's watching your relationship with your own scars. This is where many older men unknowingly sabotage themselves. They either overshare, turning pain into a performance, or they shut down completely, acting distant and emotionally unavailable. Both responses trigger the same quiet conclusion in her mind: unresolved weight, and unresolved weight feels unsafe. What she's actually testing is emotional integration. Have you learned from your experiences, or are you still trying to escape them? Are you bitter, nostalgic, defensive, or quietly resentful? Or are you at peace with who you've been because it led you to who you are now? A man who passes this test doesn't brag about his past, and he doesn't apologize for it either. He speaks about it lightly, honestly, without emotional charge. His tone says that chapter mattered, but it doesn't control me. That neutrality is magnetic. It tells her you've done the inner work most people avoid. From her perspective, an older man with unresolved pain is risky. Not because he's broken, but because he might unconsciously ask her to heal him. And she does not want to become someone's therapist. She wants to feel chosen, not needed. So she listens closely. Does your voice change when the past comes up? Do your shoulders tense? Do you try to sound wiser than you feel? Or do you remain grounded, even slightly amused by your own evolution? When you can hold your history without flinching, she feels something rare. Emotional safety without emotional burden. This test also reveals whether you're still competing with younger men in your mind. If you subtly criticize them, compare yourself, or try to justify why age makes you better, she senses insecurity immediately. Confidence doesn't explain itself. It exists quietly. A man who has truly matured doesn't need to win against time. He's made peace with it. And when she senses that, her attraction shifts from curiosity to respect. Respect is the doorway to desire that lasts. What most men don't realize is that women are incredibly sensitive to emotional residue. Even when words sound right, energy tells the truth. If your past still leaks frustration, regret, or longing, she feels it instantly. But if your past feels integrated, complete, she relaxes into you. This is why she tests here. Because if you can sit with your own story without tension, you can sit with hers too. And in her world, that matters more than charm, money, or status. When you pass this test, she stops probing your history. She stops hinting. She stops circling because she's no longer asking, "Can I trust him with my heart?" She's beginning to wonder, what would it feel like to build something with him? And that question changes everything. The third test is the one most men never recognize until it's already decided everything. This is the independence test. When a woman is into an older man, she's not just attracted to his strength. She's alert to whether that strength can exist without controlling her. So, she pulls back. Not dramatically, not with accusations or gains. She simply becomes less available. Slower replies, fewer questions, a subtle shift in warmth. And this is where desire either deepens or collapses. She's watching one thing: how you respond when access to her is no longer guaranteed. An older man who panics here fails instantly. He double texts. He seeks reassurance. He tries to lock things down too fast. He starts acting like time is running out. From her perspective, that behavior shatters the fantasy she had of you. Because a man who fears loss before loss even happens is not grounded. He's anxious. But the man who passes this test does something radically different. He doesn't chase. He doesn't punish her with coldness either. He simply stays steady. His life continues. His tone remains warm but not urgent. He doesn't ask what changed because nothing has changed inside him. This response tells her something powerful. His world does not revolve around her approval, and paradoxically, that's what makes her feel safe leaning in. Women test independence because attraction without freedom feels dangerous. If she senses that your happiness depends on her attention, she feels pressure, and pressure kills desire. She wants to be wanted, not needed. This test is especially important with older men. She's subconsciously asking, is he choosing me, or is he afraid of being alone? The answer lives in your behavior, not your words. If you pass, something shifts, her pullback stops, her messages warm again. She may even initiate, not because she was playing games, but because she needed to confirm that closeness with you doesn't cost her autonomy. Most men misinterpret this moment and sabotage it by trying to secure certainty. But certainty is not what she's offering yet. She's offering trust in stages, and each stage requires patience. A man who understands this doesn't rush the bond. He allows space without resentment. He trusts his value without demanding proof. That quiet confidence speaks louder than any declaration of interest ever could, and here's the deeper layer few talk about. This test also reveals whether you still seek purpose through relationships. If her distance destabilizes you, it means your identity is too entangled with her presence. Women sense that instantly, and it makes them pull away further, not closer. But when she feels that you are complete with or without her, she relaxes. Because now being with you feels like a choice, not a responsibility. This is the moment where attraction either matures or dies. Younger men often fail here because they confuse intensity with intimacy. Older men who have done the inner work understand that intimacy grows in safety, not urgency. When you pass this test, she stops, pulling back to check your balance. She starts stepping forward on her own, because now she knows being close to you won't cost her freedom, her identity, or her power. And when a woman feels free with a man, she becomes deeply, unmistakably drawn to him. The fourth test is quieter, more emotional, and far more revealing than anything that came before. This is the vulnerability test. When a woman is truly into an older man, she eventually stops testing his strength and starts testing his softness. Not weakness, softness. And there is a difference most men never learn. She opens a door just enough for you to look inside. She shares a fear, a doubt, a moment from her past that still carries emotion. She may phrase it casually, almost as if it doesn't matter, but it does. In that moment, she is asking a single unspoken question. Can he hold me without trying to fix me? This is where many men fail with good intentions. They offer solutions, advice, logic. They explain how she should think differently, feel differently, be stronger. But she didn't come to you to be corrected. She came to you to be understood. Older men who pass this test know something younger men often don't. Presence heals more than answers. So instead of interrupting, you listen. Instead of minimizing her pain, you acknowledge it. Your voice stays calm. Your energy stays grounded. You don't rush her through the emotion. You let it exist. From her perspective, this moment is everything. Because if you can sit with her vulnerability without discomfort, without judgment, without control, she feels emotionally naked and safe at the same time. That combination creates deep attachment. This test also reveals whether you see her as a person or a project. If you treat her emotions like problems to be solved, she feels unseen. If you dismiss them, she feels alone. But if you simply hold space, she feels chosen. Many men believe leadership means direction, but emotional leadership means containment. It means being strong enough to stay present while someone else is soft. That strength is rare, and women are exquisitely sensitive to it. She watches your micro-reactions, your eye contact, your breathing, your patience. Are you comfortable with emotion, or do you tense up? Do you stay with her story, or do you redirect the conversation back to yourself? These details matter more than words. When you pass this test, something profound happens. Her guard drops, not all at once, but enough for trust to root itself. She starts sharing more, not because she's needy, but because she feels held. And here's the deeper truth. Women are often taught to be strong, independent, and self-contained. So when she chooses to be vulnerable with you, it's not weakness, it's courage. And how you respond determines whether she ever does it again. An older man who can hold vulnerability without fear becomes more than attractive. He becomes grounding. She associates you with emotional safety. And emotional safety amplifies desire in ways looks never can. This is why many women fall hardest for men who make them feel calm, not excited. Calm doesn't mean boring. Calm means regulated, secure, solid. When she feels that with you, her nervous system relaxes. Her attraction deepens beyond chemistry into connection. And once that happens, she no longer tests whether you can handle her emotions. She already knows you can. At that point, the dynamic shifts. She stops protecting herself from you and starts opening toward you. And that's when the bond becomes real, because it's no longer built on tests, but on trust. The last test is the one that decides everything, and it's the one almost no one talks about. By the time a woman reaches this point with an older man, attraction is already present. Curiosity has turned into emotional investment. But before she fully surrenders, she needs to know one thing. Is this man consistent when the spotlight is gone? So she stops reacting. She doesn't reward you every time you show up well. She doesn't constantly validate your effort. She becomes more neutral, more normal. And this is where many men misread the moment. They think the spark is fading when in reality she's checking the foundation. This test reveals whether your confidence is internal or dependent. An older man who fails here starts changing himself. He tries new tactics. He becomes louder, quieter, more distant, more intense. His energy shifts because he's trying to regain a feeling instead of standing in who he is. From her perspective, that instability feels unsettling. If he changes when reassurance disappears, what happens when life gets hard? But the man who passes this test remains the same. His warmth doesn't disappear. His self-respect doesn't inflate. He doesn't punish her emotionally for being calm instead of excited. He understands that attraction matures, and maturity looks quieter than passion. This is where emotional intelligence shows itself. She watches how you handle silence, how you behave when there's nothing to win. Do you still treat her with care when there's no immediate reward? Do you remain grounded when attention isn't constant? Or do you need excitement to feel secure? Women crave consistency because inconsistency feels like danger to the nervous system, not dramatic danger, emotional unpredictability. And unpredictability makes it impossible to relax into attachment. When she senses that your character doesn't fluctuate, something profound happens inside her. Her mind stops scanning for red flags. Her body stops bracing. She feels safe enough to rest emotionally. This is the moment attraction turns into trust. Older men who succeed here don't try to control outcomes. They don't rush labels. They don't withdraw affection to provoke reaction. They let connection unfold at its natural pace because they trust themselves enough not to force anything. And here's the deeper truth. By the time she's testing consistency, she already wants to believe in you. She's not trying to disqualify you. She's trying to feel secure choosing you. When you stay steady, her tests stop completely. Not because she's bored, but because she's convinced. She no longer wonders how you'll react under pressure. She already knows. At that point, she starts investing emotionally without hesitation. She shares more of her world. She includes you in her future thinking. She becomes softer, not because she's weak, but because she feels protected. This is why women often fall hardest for older men who feel calm, not chaotic. Calm signals emotional mastery. Calm tells her she doesn't have to perform, impress, or protect herself. And now, before this ends, I want you to answer this honestly. When reassurance disappears, do you remain centered or do you seek control? Write your answer in the comments. If this gave you clarity, like the video. Subscribe for more truths most men are never told, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. Because understanding this changes how women experience you forever.